Something to keep in mind when people try something like destiny swapping or any magic of that sort, and a person just removes any blockages from themselves or any energy that could block their path. um, we see your faces. Like, we literally see the face of we have visual of the person doing the magic sometimes. So I just say, um, there are places like astrological magic to remediate one's own chart. Okay, there are places like curating one's own lineage. There are places like setting intention. Okay, and all these things move mountains. When people try to get into the the destiny of another person, or to swap the destiny of another person, like, we guys see that. Like, we remove for the energy. We don't even see it in the beginning. We just remove for these blockages, and then we literally get a visual. Okay, so again, the many, if a person like would like to change for their destiny, those are the curations. Okay, the cure the ancestry, the cure to curate the natal chart, to set intention. Okay, ask to access. Okay, whether it's life or love or whatnot, to fend for their own energy. I do believe that when persons sent this intention, they're no longer like trapped by whatever karma cycles or whatnot, because they would get the chance to curate, the chance to break generational curses, the chance to do this. Because what will happen, first of all, if this destiny swap is successful, that would bring a lot of malefic implications. Because this also means like you're swapping with the person. Okay, all the things. And another thing is that it won't necessarily create the satisfaction that one is seeking. And also, what the other person, that if indeed you try to swap for the, like to swap something, they will just try to remove for anything that blocks them, even in the price of like death, because it's their life and livelihood. So that can be lethal, unnecessarily, because if you wouldn't try to swap, and they might, like, they if they need to know, they will get the visual. Okay, they will get the visual. Okay, that's the person that was doing, okay, for this destiny swap or whatnot. That's the reason that was happening to you. That's the reason that was this. That's the reason that was that. And oftentimes people would try to do that because there's deep suffering in their lives, that stems from a lineage of sacrifice. Okay, this stems from a lineage that was doing destiny swapping, that was doing that malefic witchcraft, that was doing all these things. So this is where you do want to turn to curate for stuff to do with the lineage. I would not listen so much to people that talk about, saying, oh, now you must feel this karma and so on and this and that. But I would rather I would turn to curate, I would turn to astrological magic. I know some people are eclipse children, and so um, even within this, okay, to try to see for what is the correct way to deal with this transit. Let's say Mars, okay, Mars rules blood, the weapon, this and that, also passion and drive. So wherever there is point of interference, okay, to take on for that journey, rather than to, sometimes you may attempt a destiny swap, and that was like your lesson, okay, that backfired malefically, and that was kind of like your fated journey to see that that doesn't work and so on. But perhaps this also opens the door for other opportunities, for other life paths that do work, for other things that we've not prediscovered. Because now Pluto is trine in Sedna, there is a lot of the new that is open when we tend to inclusivity since the Inuit. So whether it's, you know, all types of things. And it's good to do whatever mantras or whatever this or whatever that, to curate and to yes, raise awareness. I said this person that's been gone through this from the recipient side, that I didn't know what was bothering, and then I tended to this block, and then I saw the picture, literally the image of person that was trying to do such session swapping. And I'm humbled by their life experience, okay, because that is, you know, definitely bringing up compassion and grace, but also I try to think, okay, for what could tend to that, and any job to do with astrological magic that is to create light within and to access light within, because that encounter was very likely fainted, and I do not underestimate the challenges that one faces in the soul. I just bless for that to be accessible, and and I understand, okay, I'm humble that I don't have all the answers. Say, okay, you could do that or you could do that, because probably that person did try and many things did not work. And that's the why and how, and many people are also trapped within cults, and that makes it even more difficult. I can try from my point of view to bless people with access to exit violence, because usually it's the violence that they experience that causes that, and bless people with access to experience for the light, okay, and just send my blessings. Naturally, I've defined myself by any means necessary, but you know, it's just life, you know. And I also stay humble because I understand that and I can understand. It's not like I really understand, because everybody has their lifetime, but I can understand that is tremendous pain to experience. So for psychic attacks and culture attacks, I'd definitely go for the route of you know, talismans that block this, for the Imagination podcast, for raising awareness to satanic abuse, to begin to block for this energy. That is one way, this is just one road that I would definitely yes, go to. If you are experiencing for these things like a woman alone living in this and such a thing, then curating for lineage of real estate. So altars for ancestors, or to bring in, if the ancestry, if it's coming from ancestry, so to bring in energies. If you could use, I think Christ consciousness is very classic, because Christ is the unconditional love, and is very forgiving. So even if you have strayed the path of black magic, ritual abuse, stuff like that, and you've been perpetuated, first of all, you're very likely born into this cult, so you're not to blame for the fact that you're born. And not only that, there was just such intense investment of energy to keep people doing the wrong things. Okay, also both if they're in politics, in artists, and so on and so forth. You can be certain that you have your own shine. You can be certain that you have your own creative endeavor. You can be certain that you have your own road to success. You can be certain that you have your own access to love. Um, and that, I believe, is not blocked from you. We can have like altar for whether it's ancestry, set intention for to curate these things, remove whatever courses or whatnot, and see what other worldviews, are open and accessible for you this time, that you can integrate into your life, to bring in more light. Okay, if there's something to try to invert on anything that you do, then do the inversion of the inversion. Okay, it's a lot of set intentions, forcing your boundaries. I guess that's what they call the spiritual warfare, and that's what I would try, rather than destiny swapping or all these tricks that don't really work. You can definitely bring in energies. Okay, if there's a chart that has better, let's say I have Venus opposing Pluto, okay, and I do my astrology on the chart on the site of Peter from astro.com, and I'm sorry, from AstroSeek, and he has Venus trines Pluto, and it definitely renovated for my experiences with the Venus Pluto, by being exposed to this chart. Okay, I didn't destiny swap, I didn't just use the app that he created, and he brings in this energy, and so I would see relations differently just by the merit of agreeing to receive from the energy that he put out. So this is something that does not require you to do destiny swapping or to do a ritual. You can definitely bring in charts that make you feel better. Okay, we don't have to swap into these charts. You can see what challenging aspects. Let's say it's the the Corvan out. Okay, the Saturn Pluto hard aspects. So you can bring in the sextile, you can bring in the trine, you can bring in synastries that, rather than trigger your Corvan out full-fledged, okay, although that was successful between Peter and Corvan out himself, but we warned them, so we don't know exactly what was, but you can bring in someone with the sextile, somebody who is bringing in a sextile to this aspect. You can remediate that aspect, where is the challenges coming from your chart, and you can bring in the harmonious chart into your chart, and learn from that. You don't have to swap destinies, okay, with the other person. And so I have to admit, it's very humbling experience that somebody wants or tries to swap for destiny with with my chart. I wouldn't think it's that attractive, but I do understand that when a person comes from lineage of working in those ways, sometimes the exposure to other ways in which you can curate is not even existent, and sometimes it's a matter of really being exposed to teachings that can facilitate something that is remedial. Okay. Um, Other things is, of course, the usual classic talismanic curations. Saturn in Pisces is a great time to repent. So any practices that you've done that were of malefic magic, of this, of that, is a great time to repent. And again, the reason I say Christ consciousness, it's just so accessible in the sense that it's just so merciful. Okay. So you always have a chance. You always have a light. You always have where to go. I'm not talking about the church. I'm not talking about the ritual using children. I'm talking about just the Christ consciousness or Archangel Michael, and to begin to curate for these things and ask for way out. If you're watching this, or you've encountered, or you're the one who tried to do this destiny swapping, and again, I know who you are, so that would be something that perhaps could assist. And again, if you don't have any capability, right, like physical, to do action, you can just set intention, or set intention to set intention. That moves mountains. And perhaps it can be the road to new teachings of astrology, of your own way to how to deal with that, because there's the way that you've been seeing things up until this now. And if the Saturn Pluto is activated within you, whether it was Saturn maturation or Saturn return, then the full-fledged, if you have the square, or if you have the hard aspect, then a person can really feel like there's no support, and that can be fully activated. But again, the curation is to stand your ground, and to stand on, to stand on solid ground. So for all these things, if you're within like MK Ultra setting, or all these things, that can be very imprisoning. Perhaps turning to Andromedan. Okay, for the things that they did to remove this, they might be useful to you. Okay, Arcturian, the Andromedas, Andromeda's reconciliation. Arcturians, they can remove for a lot of this alien agenda that is not benefic, and do not be afraid, because it's not like you're exempt. It's not like somebody's gatekeeping you from having a good life experience. And if something is too much or is too overwhelming for you, just say, okay, I need that to be just not that overwhelming. Because with light consciousness, your yes, no, and maybe is heard. But what is not light consciousness is all gaslighting. So it's all gaslighting. Okay? And you know that because you've probably had to do that to others if you're in MK Ultra. And that can facilitate for you a way of forgiving yourself and beginning to align with your yes, no, and maybe, and your essence of desire. Okay, Blue Lotus can assist in this. Rosemary can assist in this. Tea tree can assist in this. So you're aligning with essence of desire. Achillea, okay, the rays of blue can assist with it. Aligning with your truth. And anything that is flowery, whether it is cistus, helichrysum, lavender, rose, okay, all those scents, essentially scents break programming down. Scents do not allow, whenever they tried to make me detached for this, they were trying to get the scents away. They tried to get the oils away so that I will not be able to be deprogramming. because scents, they work on your nervous system. So again, instead of trying to destiny swap, whenever you have access, okay, more of yourself, try to use for an oil that you can stand the scent of. Try to use for things that you purify, okay, for your energy. And you will see that opportunities do open up for you. Whatever your chart is, there is there's a better way to experience it. Okay, so it's challenging issue, and I understand that it's something that a lot of people deal with. I understand it's a lot of lineages came with what to do when your life sucks. Try to swap with somebody else, um, and there are other things to do, but also it's important to say that it is, you know, that your life experience is seen, or that your life experience is challenging, and to give yourself the grace and self-compassion that this is the situation. And self-compassion, especially if you grew up in the hermaphrodite cult, so the mother wound was lack of containment or self-containment. You need to find that somewhere within you. You need access to containment or healthy remediation of the moon. With the father, is about confidence in your shine and wealth, and so is the other side of wealth, and that can be facilitated whether you're sexually active or not. Okay, it's the opening of the heart and assistance of, okay, the heart. And this is for whatever energy is missing, especially if you feel like, maybe you had the mother but not the father, so you feel, for example, I grew up with my mom, so it took time to understand how to remediate the sun or the solar or the lack of that in life. Or some people grew up with the father, so how to remediate the lack of mom in life can also, okay, be an issue. Or people with moon Neptune, sun Neptune, okay, if it's missing father, missing mother, those things can bring in about, okay, such like that people don't know. But with Neptune, there's the miraculous healing as well, and the gift of grace. So I guess you could find a lot in the teaching that can, facilitate that for you, and perhaps even become eventually better than destiny swapping. And I wish you all the best.